Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Construction Show. We are here today filming at WEFTEC in Chicago, and we have the pleasure of having Justin Whitley. He's the CEO with Drylet Incorporated. You have a very innovative product for the market that you're bringing and showcasing here. Maybe just to jump in, maybe a little bit of background of Drylet, a little introduction would be good, and then we can jump into this really fascinating product.
Sure. Yeah. Company's been around for about 10 years. Kind of came about as a combination of finding a better carrier for bacteria. And so silica was identified as that carrier. And so we have a patent around that, any combination of bacteria and silica. So a better mousetrap, if you will, for introducing targeted specific bacteria into wastewater treatment. I
was telling you off camera, I was like, I'm going to hold on my questions and wait to do it on camera, because it's really fascinating, like going through this product. The silica, which is, you've got this here, right?
Yep.
So the bacteria is actually getting introduced through silica then?
Yeah.
And how was that even discovered? Obviously, we can't get into things that obviously are trade secrets, but
sure.
But it'd be interesting to go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, it was a bit of a serendipitous discovery, if you will, as a lot of great new innovations are. So just in the search of trying to find a better carrier, silica was found and worked out really well. So there's a really interesting material science benefit to the silica. It's porous for one, so okay. the bacteria are actually, they dry on the inside, in the porosity of that silica, and it actually gives us improves surface area in wastewater treatment. So it's kind of adding a surface area media as well as introducing the bacteria. And then the silica itself is heavier than water, so when you add it into a liquid environment, it gets through the liquid and down into the sludge where we want those bacteria to be and want them to operate.
So was the bacteria long known about? It was just combining it with it that made it so much more effective for like the sludge treatment?
Yeah. So the silica really enhances the performance of the bacteria. So it actually acts as a protectant as well, protects from larger organisms in the system, bacteriophages and viruses that might attack the bacteria that we're adding. And so it gives them a benefit of being able to reproduce faster and then really start to stream bacteria out into the system. And we don't add enzymes. We just add the bacteria that produce the enzymes to continue to do the breakdown.
And the process is called, like you had a video that I was watching too. It's like it's bioremediation, correct?
Yep. Bioremediation or bioaugmentation, essentially using bacteria to augment a wastewater treatment system. Bacteria break down things in nature all the time. Mm-hmm. If a tree falls in the forest or an animal dies in the forest, it gets broken down by bacteria. So it's taking that knowledge and applying it to wastewater. And we really want to get that message out there as a innovative technology. Talking to attendees here and customers and prospects on a regular basis, it's just not even really on their radar, not something that they've tried in the past.
Don't even realize it even exists.
There's just a tendency to go towards a more mechanical operation of getting rid of solids when we can do it, in situ, inside the lagoon or whatever it is that we're treating.
Yeah, what are the main industries that you're targeting that can really benefit from this product?
Yeah, so wastewater treatment plants, municipal, and that can be the wastewater treatment plant, or if some of these smaller rural cities just operate with lagoons, we do those as well.
Okay.
Industrial solids, so that's kind of like food and beverage, protein processors, rendering operations. We do livestock, so
makes sense.
Swine, dairy, beef. We can treat that manure, and those goals are a little bit different, but odor reduction, solids reduction, it all kind of goes together. And then also anaerobic digestion, biogas production facilities to help improve operations, but also boost biogas.
So when you're bringing this product in then, so I guess when people in those industries, we can take any one of them, industrial or municipal, what are some of the questions they have, like initially? Are they like, well, this, because how much of a reduction can they get from using this product?
Yeah, so we've done quite a bit of case study building in the past, and we did some of those projects on a performance basis.
Okay.
So we set a target of 30% total solids reduction. And the way that we measured that was we bring in a large industrial lagoon mixer.
Yep.
To get a total mix of the lagoon and take composite samples, as opposed to using a sludge judge, where you end up losing part of that sample, almost every time. So we feel like we got really good sampling, and then we would dose our product, and then we would come back 90 to 120 days later, do the mixing and the composite sampling again. And we've achieved 50 to 60% reduction across all those opportunities within that 3 to 4 month time frame. And so the other side of that is we're not accounting for the solids that are coming into the lagoon during that time period.
Right, you got all the new stuff being added.
And then also the product's going to continue to work beyond that time frame too. So it's actually better performance than what we even like to claim. Because
it is a bacteria, do they keep adding more as well to like those lagoons? Like, is there kind of like that secret science of like how much to add based on how much is getting? Yeah,
so we've started doing more of that here in the last couple of years. So we do what we consider kind of a rescue dose. Like, hey, we're at a point where we know we need to dredge. We have to get rid of some solids.
Okay.
So we can come in, and the sonar technology that we'll talk about later.
Oh, yes.
Does a good job of helping us estimate the total amount of solids. And then we can come in and say, well, we know for every pound of product that we add, we destroy 500 to 700 pounds of solids. So we do an estimation of how much solids is there, how much you want to get rid of, and kind of back calculate in how much we want to dose. So that's kind of our rescue dose, like, hey, we got to do something now.
Okay.
And then we've started doing over the last couple of years more maintenance dosing as well. And so tell me what your average daily flow is. Tell me what your average daily loading is, COD and BOD. And then we'll calculate how much needs to be added. Then we can do that dosage on a weekly basis, and we've seen really good success with that. So rather than having to come back and do a big dose every couple of years when you're back to that point, let's keep that lagoon in. It's basically a prebiotic or a probiotic for the lagoon.
Yeah. So this thing is it's basically it's eating it, I guess.
Yeah. It's hydrolysis.
It's like, this is delicious.
Yeah. I mean, back. For bacteria, waste is food.
Yeah,
right? So, the more targeted, specific bacteria we can add that like to consume the waste, the better it is. So we do a really good job of all organic solids and fats, oils, and greases. We can break down all that stuff.
The fats, oils, and greases too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's.
Yeah, that's actually the kind of the low hanging fruit.
Right.
We can get lagoons that have fat caps. We've dealt with some, and we've got some video of some where we've had 4 to 6 feet of fat cap, and to the point where you have to dig through it with an excavator and make a hole and dose the product that way. But and we'll get into some case studies later, I think. But we've had one that got a proposal from an engineer that they were going to have to dig a new lagoon, and it was going to be $3.5 million to dig a new hole, and we cleaned up their lagoon for less than $500,000. So.
Actually, it's actually a good segue into one of them. Like you had one where there was the Russellville lagoon, I believe. It was for the BioDredger, and then there's the AquaAssist. Which case study was that one where they realized that huge difference for the treatment? That one you just mentioned.
That one I actually might not even be on there, but the Russellville one works as well.
Okay.
So they had about 1.5 feet of fat cap. They were just having too much loading. They were wasting, having to haul off a lot of sludge. They were having to add chemicals to maintain their pH in their lagoon. So we came in and did a big dose in October, and then in January I think they started doing a maintenance dose. And by May, the fat cap was completely gone, and that plant now has a no fat cap policy. So they're fully on board and want to make sure they continue to keep that system in operation.
So they basically now, with that, they just have to set up like how much they dose over like to maintain it.
Yep. And so we'll monitor their flow and monitor the loading, and we can change the dose if we need to.
Right.
So we try to work as closely with them as we can. That's one of our things that we really like to focus on is customer service and really tailoring to each customer what their needs are, rather than just throwing out a quote. our lagoon is this size. Like, we need to get into the details and figure out really what your goals are and how much solids you actually want to get rid of.
Yeah, I was going to jump back to, because there's obviously the Drylet, and then so AquaAssist and BioDredger. Maybe touch on those a little bit as well. So the differences for those two products.
So we have BioDredger is our anaerobic blend of bacteria. So any lagoon that doesn't have aeration, that would be the target.
No aeration. Okay.
Yep. So any. Yeah, and that can be municipal or industrial or any of those lagoons that don't have aeration. That would be the product. And then the AquaAssist is our aerated blend. And again, so some of those food and bev lagoons have aeration as well. So some projects will use both products. And then AquaAssist would normally be our product for wastewater treatment plants, where we would add it in aeration basins.
And then you have one that I can guess, because it's called Manure Magic. I can kind of guess what that one's used for.
Yes. So that's our livestock product. Everybody loves that name, Manure Magic. And that's a little bit of a different approach. We're not trying to totally break down solids. The goal there is generally we want to get the solids broken down enough to where they don't have solids build up, and that can in a hog barn where it's just 8 foot deep pit. If you let it sit, and you will eventually have solids build up. Where when you add a bacterial product to help break that stuff down to get it into suspension, just makes it easier to pump and do land application with.
Yeah, it's a great lineup. So you're kind of like you've got it for each. You've kind of specialized it. For each different one.
It's really just a matter of dosage. What's the goal and how much do we dose?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you get to have the cool name, Manure Magic. And everyone's like, oh, I wonder. Well, we know what that's for.
Yeah, it's not not a magic bullet, but Manure Magic.
Yeah. The next thing I think we could touch on is the sonar mapping, and we're actually going to bring in. So Nick Harland is your sonar operations manager.
Yep.
So probably a good time to bring him in for a segment on that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we've got Nick Harland. You are the sonar operations manager. We were just talking. We were going through kind of the products and the different things that Drylet offers here with Justin. So just to jump into it, the sonar mapping, how is that being used for Drylet, for how you're using the product at all these different applications?
So we use it a lot for helping find buildup in these waste lagoons and whatnot. We use it a little bit, whether it's someone needing something done to where we can help build a proposal to sell them product, to keep in maintenance records of it. We have customers that we go back to on a yearly basis just to see their buildup, and so they can stay in compliance of everything they need to do with whatever organization they work with.
So basically goes around and maps the whole lagoon, essentially?
Yeah, I have a remote control. I have one I can stand from the bank, drive it around, and let it do its work. And then for bigger jobs, I can take the technology off of it and put it on a manned John boat and go around. So I can do anything from very small lagoons, ponds, whatever, or if someone needs a big body of water done, I ain't afraid to do what needs done.
Yeah. So, I did see a video too where it was mounted on you're operating the boat too.
Yes.
So you could basically go through the whole thing. When was that added? Have you used that the whole time with Drylet, or is that relatively new for the mapping and
Yeah, we added it, about a year ago?
A little over a year ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so it was really kind of a request from one of our bigger customers that, hey, can you do this for us? And so trying to be as customer service driven as possible, we decided to bring that on, and it really works as kind of lead generation for us too, because it's a lower entry, exposure, and we can, and I mean, all it's really doing is measuring from the top of the water to the top of the sludge. And as long as we know the design of the lagoon, we can estimate, total sludge. And to Nick's point, it helps to say, okay, we've got buildup over here, we got a hole over here,
right,
and really give you a better idea of the total sludge blanket.
It's a new technology compared to the old time guys out on a John boat with a sludge judge and taking a day's on.
What's even a sludge judge?
It's just a pipe that you stick down and basically just try to, and then it's got a plug on the bottom that you pull up and try to take a core sample.
Oh, okay.
So
We're getting into diamond drilling for sludge ponds.
So it is.
You can use it for sampling, but also just poking around and seeing
So
how
this
deep the
is
sludge is.
way more
Yeah,
effective.
and it gives a visual map with colors, and we can build a report off that. It's very technology advanced and
Right.
gives the user a good visual put in front of them instead of just handwritten notes type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing where like the clients, they can come in, they can get that to start out, go, okay, yeah, now you could basically quote them on like what they're going to need for the Drylet product.
Yeah. So, and like I said, we know for every pound that we add, we destroy 500 to 700 pounds. And so
That's crazy. 1 pound for 500 to 700 pounds.
Yeah. These
Just depend-
bacteria work.
Wild.
And so, with that, we can get a better estimate of how much product we need to add. So it really works well. And the way that we build our proposals is we'll come in and do the sonar, and then we'll make a proposal for treatment on the backside of that. And if they decide to go with the proposal for treatment, then the cost of the sonar actually comes off.
Nice.
So then it's more of a
Nice.
service.
Yep. That's great. That's great. A good entryway. I don't know if there's anything else to add, but that's fantastic. I mean, that's a great setup for mapping that out, especially for people probably new to the product, I'm sure.
Yeah.
New to the product, like just says, good entry point to get everyone going and seeing what's out there.
Yeah, and we'll go anywhere and do it. We flew it to California here. a
Oh,
few
did
weeks
you?
ago, and,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll go wherever I'm needed.
Yeah. And it's
Okay, yeah.
across all different lagoon types. I mean, municipal or industrial or livestock, anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's open to the air and we can get GPS signal,
Yep.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, everybody, we'll have your LinkedIn, Nick, for the we'll have your LinkedIn so everybody can reach out and get these maps going.
Definitely.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining, and it was great to go through that as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, actually, building off the where you can do the sonar mapping, what does your distribution look like? Are you? I was actually going to ask earlier, I forgot, but the manufacturing. Where are you shipping this from?
So we manufacture in Ellsworth, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
We third party there, so we don't own the facility, but they do a really great job for us.
Nice.
And they actually have their own transport, so that helps us keep freight down.
Oh, okay.
A little less LTL shipping wherever we can.
Yeah, nice.
And then we ship anywhere and everywhere. We've got distribution and dealer network for our livestock product, mostly concentrated in the Midwest, and then a lot of the larger projects we do direct, but we also have some sales agreements and some agents out there trying to drum up business for us.
Okay.
And always looking and open for more opportunities and trying to
Right.
identify more and better partners there.
Okay.
So we do a lot of those direct, and then wastewater treatment is kind of the same through some sales agents and direct as well. But everything comes out of Iowa.
Do you have it seems like there's can be quite a range of the products. Because even like you mentioned, for shipping wise, 1 pound is 500 to 700 pounds. Is there kind of minimum quantities you typically will send to a user? How do you or is it so varied?
It's a little bit variable. So we generally offer 2 packaging options. We have usually in 25-pound increments.
Okay.
So we do we can do a 5-gallon bucket, and then we're actually using square buckets now, so they fit a lot better on a pallet. We used to
Smart.
use round buckets.
Stole that idea from Costco, I bet.
So the square buckets work really well. And then we can also do bags. So when we're
Okay.
going for one of those rescue doses that I'm talking about, just to cut down on waste and having a stack of buckets afterwards, we'll use a nice plastic or a poly bag.
I wonder on those doses, those emergency doses you do, some of the videos, you can see it actually it working, right?
Yeah.
It's starts going, and those aren't sped up. I don't think it's actually bubbling and doing its thing.
You'll get, and we get that question a lot, what can I expect to see?
Yeah.
And one of the key indicators is you'll see significant increase in microbial activity, and the side effect of that is gas production, right? So when you're breaking down solids, so breaking down solids, the byproducts are generally water and CO2. And so you'll see the increase in bubbling all across the lagoon. And there's some great video footage of the one that had that massive fat cap that I was talking about that we dosed. And then when we went back to dose again, when as soon as we broke through with the excavator, I mean, just all this massive amounts of gas bubbling up. And
Crazy.
Yeah. So it tells you that there's something going on down there.
Yeah.
So and you know, we get skepticism, right? You know, it's something that you can't see, you can't put your hands on. It's not a mechanical dredge where you see a truck leaving and going down the road with solids. But we've got the case studies, we've got the proof, we've got referrals, and we're still willing to do those performance-based trials too, because we're very confident we're batting 1,000 on those lagoons. Yeah,
actually to touch on, I want to jump into more of the case studies. One thing I wanted to ask too is when you've got so when the water when sludge gets broken down, is there times, like, I don't know how all these lagoons are even set up, but like, is it to get to a point where the water can then be treated? Is that what they're trying to do, or is it sometimes still being trucked off?
It depends on how they're set up. So some of them will discharge to a wastewater treatment plant. They'll discharge to a city.
Right.
Some of them will discharge to a river.
Right.
Some of them do land application of water. And so with each one of those, they have their own respective restrictions on total solids or COD or nitrogen or phosphorus, however the state dictates what they do with their water. And so that's a big key for us is helping those plants stay in compliance. Because if they're out of compliance on their wastewater discharge, potentially the plant could shut down. They could be accumulating fines over time. And so we can help mitigate those costs by keeping them in compliance and keeping their numbers where they need to be.
I think you have a really big, there's a really big project. I think it was the 58 MGD WWTP that you mentioned. Is that the big one?
Yeah.
So can you unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's a really big wastewater treatment facility, and they have 2 trains to pass that the wastewater goes through when it comes into their system. So we did one side, and they were having problems with solids accumulation and clarifiers, and so we treated one side and didn't treat the other side. So that way we could, track the data and track the performance.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So they saw 37% reduction in their settling volume, 43% reduction in their sludge volume index overall.
Okay.
And so then that turns into cost savings on having to haul off sludge. Because if they have to dewater, which is never cheap. And then anytime you're hauling any amount of water is expensive. So, and then they have to go either find somewhere to land apply or go to a landfill and pay tipping fees. So, for every load that you reduce, you're reducing your cost.
Got it. Okay. And they could see like, so once they had the one side was working so well, then they naturally went to the other side.
Yep.
Excellent. And then I see another one. This gets more into the dairy side of it. So, what were they trying to do with the dairy? So they were using AquaAssist and BioDredger?
Yeah, it was actually a dairy processing facility. So where they're processing milk and cheese.
Oh, okay.
And so they were having issues with solids buildup, but they were also having issues with high levels of E. coli. And so we were able to reduce their solids and reduce their E. coli load. And, how does that work, right? So essentially, the E. coli is utilizing nutrients in the system to continue to reproduce. And we're basically adding enough of our bacteria, enough of that targeted bacteria that are reproducing at a high rate that they essentially outcompete the bad bacteria, the E. coli. For levels of nutrients.
So big note to anybody watching that's running anything that there might be E. coli.
Yeah.
You can actually basically take over.
Take
that over.
Yeah, take the nutrients away from the E. coli. And this is a little bit of a side segue here, but we on the Manure Magic side of things, in livestock, in hog barns specifically, foaming is an issue. So they'll start to have this foam that starts building up in their pit, and then to the point where it can sometimes come through the slats and get up into where the pigs are. And the specific bacteria has not been identified.
They don't know what it is yet.
We don't know what's causing it. But we do know that when we treat with our product, there's a 75+% reduction in incidence of foam.
Wow.
And the same concept applies, right? We're out competing that bad bacteria, and not allowing it to proliferate.
Even though you don't know what it is.
Even though we don't know what it is. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
The foam holds the methane that's being produced through the solids breakdown.
Okay.
And if a heater kicks on or somebody flicks a cigarette, it can cause an explosion. There's usually barn explosions 2 or 3 a year where that'll happen. Yeah. Yeah. So it becomes a animal welfare and human safety risk as well. So a relatively small investment to protect your animals and your people.
It's kind of crazy because you've got you figured out how to add this to this bacteria to resolve these issues, and some of these things are still being discovered. They don't know what's actually in them.
At times when I start talking to people about what the bacteria can do, I feel like I'm rambling and saying I can fix all their problems. It kind of comes across as a magic bullet, but it really does a lot. I mean, bacteria.
It's nature, kind of
bacteria you've almost they do everything in our environment, and that's one of the takeaways that I want to messages that I want to get across is just consider bioremediation as a potential solution to your problems.
Like you said, because you're removing there's so much you're saving so much on the equipment cost of doing it the other traditional, I'd call them traditional ways now, and seeing this being out. And it sounds like with the case studies that you have, the people that are implementing it, they're not even considering going back to something else.
Yeah, that one that we talked about, the Russellville one, they were spending several thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars a month on chemical that they're now not buying.
Yeah.
And so their cost mitigation has been huge, and they're rolling it out to several other plants.
Yeah, it's amazing. You almost see it in with this, how it's working so well. There's got to be other ways that in the world around plastics has become a big issue. There's got to be other ways that can be.
Yeah, and there are some companies in the bioremediation space that are trying to do some targeted bacteria to reduce PFAS, which is huge in this industry. So that's something that we're considering. We wouldn't own the bacteria, but we could certainly load it on our carrier and get it introduced that way.
Yeah, the fact that you got the carrier is that's so crucial, right? Because you're kind of almost. Is it speeding up the process, or it's just because you found that right carrier?
It speeds up the process, but again, it also just concentrates the bacteria, where the food is, rather than being in the liquid layer. They're down there in the sludge, doing their job, and you'll actually start to see. So again, water and gas are the byproducts of solids breakdown, and so as these bacteria are breaking down food, there's little tiny bubbles that will eventually come together and create a big bubble, and we'll see in a lagoon all of a sudden this plume of solids comes up, and you're
oh really?
Yeah, so it's a really good indicator that things are going the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, I guess actually we're going to bring on another guest, Darko Lojen. I think he's your director of EMEA operations. So we're going to actually bring Darko in because we've got another case study to talk about, and he's going to be able to highlight that. So, Darko, we're back with you, and I wanted to double check. Darko Lojen? Lojen?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, great to have you on the construction show. So, we've got a couple specific things that we were going to jump in. So, there's a case study, and this was in South Africa. So, this was and look, maybe just to dive in, what was the issue? What were they trying to solve with their problem?
So in South Africa, they have a lots of smaller wastewater treatment plants that were not managed well, and that because of the climate, they have a very changes in the flow over between a wet and dry season.
Okay.
So that's usually in wastewater, that's a huge challenge. So we had a partner there for a couple of years now, and he thought that it will be a good idea to try our product there and to couple our product with his I would say invention and his ultrafine bubble technology. So he basically started with testing his own product, his own ultrafine bubble technology.
Okay.
Then he did a test with our own product, and at the end he actually coupled his technology with our technology. So the results were over and beyond what we expected. And at this moment, because those trials were done through the South African Innovation Fund, and they were funded the whole both pilots, and basically we were able to repeat the results in between in two sites. So results were actually, we didn't expect to see that kind of results. Usually we do provide a stability for wastewater treatment plant. We provide a significant resilience, especially when we're going from a dry to wet season. But we do know what we're going to happen with the sludge reduction. But in this case, we actually saw even higher sludge reduction, and we saw very resilient plant. So based on that, we actually start to share this information with our partners throughout the world.
Okay.
And right now, we are hoping that even in South African technology that could be adopted further.
So they're taking the micro bubbles, they're adding in Drylet product, and it's speeding up. It's even further speeding that up.
If our technology can achieve this level of reduction, and theirs on its own could achieve this level of reduction together, it's just that much better.
Yeah.
Those little bulb, from what my understanding with that's causing is that helping with evaporation of the fluid? No. Oh,
what's happened is that basically in wastewater, the whole transformation is done by microbes. Mm-hmm. So it's something that it's here for the millions of years. So microbes doing their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But in wastewater, you're using microbes to transform, to reduce organics. Let's put that way. Mm-hmm. So with the organic microbes need oxygen. So basically microbubbles or ultrafine bubbles or nanobubbles basically make sure that there is enough oxygen inside of the biological tank. So microbes could work much harder, much more, and process much higher load of organics.
Because this wastewater treatment, that is typically done in tanks too, right?
Yes.
It's not like sitting in a pond.
No. It can be either.
It can be that too. Okay, cool. Okay.
The typical wastewater treatment plant has a biology tank where is a strong aeration. Mm-hmm. But you have a bubbles a bit bigger, mm-hmm. and so there is a limited amount of oxygen that actually go from a bubble to a water to be available for bacteria. But when you actually shrink the bubble, you have a higher surface, and then actually the movement of oxygen to water is higher, and you have your DO going really high, and basically you can feed all your bacteria with enough oxygen they need.
Okay.
And that usually the DO is a limited factor for any wastewater treatment plant.
And now you're responsible too for distribution over in the European markets, right? And then Africa as well? More European.
I would say together with Justin, basically we are working. I'm covering overseas.
Okay.
So I'm starting from Europe as further west to these days to Korea as the further east.
Okay.
South, it's South Africa and India.
Yeah.
So we have in Europe, from Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Portugal. We hope Spain soon.
Yeah.
Italy, Balkan region. We used to work in Russia. We were working there with the largest swine producer there for years. So we are hoping that basically we'll go back to Romania, go to Poland.
Yeah.
But basically, there's Israel. Of course, we have a very, I would say, diverse customers.
Does it just take a lot? Do you find as you educate them and they basically as soon as they kind of implement it, they're like, okay, we've got to implement that in their system. It's just a lot of people need to see it and try it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what their issue is. I mean, like a wastewater treatment plant, they could just have an upset from a big rain event or saltwater infiltration if they're close to the sea.
Yeah,
and we can come in and inoculate that system and just get it restarted. Or it can be they have constant, the capacity of the plant is not enough to handle their inflow. And so they just need increased capacity, and we can give them that capacity. And that would be a customer that would be using it on a daily basis. So we have some that'll use it as a preventative, some that'll use it as a maintenance, and some that just kind of use it as that rescue situation.
Okay. Yes, and just to add, basically we actually work with each customer. No matter if we have a distributor or we have a consultancy that actually help us to get on the market, we are trying to work with the final customer because we believe that our product will provide the maximum once we basically once they are basically well educated and they know what they're doing with our product. So usually we even for example we do have customers that from 2018 2019 we still in touch with them, not on a daily basis, but we just make sure that everything's going smoothly, that they don't have any changes in their operations, because most of our customers are basically very, running a very sensitive operation. So any change in their what they do work could actually affect the final result, and we want actually to be there to prevent any actually losing momentum or something.
Fantastic. Well, Darko, it's been great to have you on this segment. Thank you for joining as well. And
it was my pleasure.
Yeah, the great case study, and it's cool seeing the two innovations coming together and even producing better results. So thanks so much for joining.
Welcome.
Well, this is, we're covering kind of everything. So naturally, probably should go into some like growth strategy, business strategy. Do you have a growth plan? Obviously, it sounds like you're doing a lot in the Europe-Asia market, but is that something that you're kind of focused on as well within like getting out to more customers?
Yeah. So we're trying to find as many of those distribution partners and, consultants that can, even if it's not this is something we use all the time. It's just another tool in the toolbox, and finding those partners that we can work with. So we're working on expanding into the biogas space more, and working on trying to generate some good data and case studies there. Huge potential for us, and to be able to capture more biogas, I think is great for the environment and great for everybody.
Would that be a new product for that market then?
We have an existing product. There was a period of time, and I guess we're still kind of in it, where there was a gold rush of let's build as many digesters as possible and capitalize on subsidies that were available and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So optimization wasn't as top of mind, especially when the subsidy dollars were so high, but those have come back down to earth quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so optimization becomes important. Every increase in percentage of gas that we can get is good for those guys. So that's a market that we're diving back into, and then we're bringing on a couple different product lines here recently. One targeted at grease traps, so that can be restaurants, hotels, small meat processing facilities that don't have lagoon and wastewater treatment that have grease traps. So minimizing the amount of times they have to pump out, keeping their drains clean and open, and significantly reducing odors in the workspace for the employees as well. So we just rolled that out here a few months ago, and then we're going to be getting a septic product together as well.
That makes a lot of sense for like that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
so residential or commercial septic, either one, and so we'll be rolling that out soon.
Okay, great. So that's more you've kind of touched on some of the challenges, just because people are like, oh, I'm going to bring in these big machines to do the job. But what are some of the challenges you've had to overcome, like just as you get this out to more in the market?
Yeah, I think there's some general skepticism again, because it's it's not something that you can see. You have to put it in and wait for the results a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's some challenge there. There are have been some products on the market in the past that just didn't work, and so we get I've tried bacteria that doesn't work, and so we have to overcome that a little bit. But again, we've got the experience, we've got the expertise, we got the case studies and the proof, and we're willing to do some trial discounts and that kind of thing to prove that we can do what we say we do.
Did you through like your time, you've been CEO for a number of years now, right?
Going on 3 years now. Yeah.
Has there been some have you seen like pivots and like ways that you've gone to the market in that over the last few years, like since you've kind of taken over?
Yeah, we're trying to find more of those distribution partners. And let's work with the people that already have the existing relationships. Can we get distribution agreements, especially with the grease trap product that companies that are already calling on those restaurant chains and those hotels, they're selling them something else. Can this be an add-on?
Right.
So we're trying to do more of that. And then, just finding dealer opportunities. Because most of the time, the Liquefy GT is the name of the grease trap product.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So great. That, and then the septic products that be coming, that's more of a potentially off-the-shelf kind of thing. But for the most part, everything else is we're sending it directly to the customer. And so we want to have that touch point, to Darko's point on, we want to be involved in customer service and making sure that we're setting our customers up for success.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is the sonar mapping. That's been like kind of within the last year, right?
Yep.
So that's probably been a big add-on, I'm sure.
The sonar has been really good for us, and hopefully over the next year or so, we'll expand that and be able to add another boat and maybe another operator to cover more geography with that as well. I mean, we're willing to go anywhere right now, but we're a little bit strapped on time.
I guess too, like if it starts happening over in Europe more, you'd almost have somebody over there. Obviously, that'd be a lot. You can't ride that over the Atlantic. So
and we're doing some different stuff with dosing too. Darko has used drones for product application.
Oh, okay.
On lagoons.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we got some videos on that too. And I think that was driven by some regulations there that they didn't want people on the lagoon. But so it's a safety thing, right? So if we can dose with a drone, nobody has to get out on a boat and do the dosing. Yeah,
the drones, that's a pretty interesting use. So they didn't want to. They were basically trying to remove, like, in some places if they're big, trying to remove the human aspect. Yep. Is there do you see any other changes or anything else coming in that will be used for like the lagoons themselves?
Yeah, I think one thing that we do to kind of separate ourselves from the competition too is using lagoon mixing boats. So there's a handful of them. Noon is one that we tend to use. So it's this amphibious vehicle. It can completely remote controlled. You drive it into a lagoon, and then it has really powerful jets. One thing that we run into with sludge, particularly in older lagoons, ones that are 30 years old and have never had anything done to them, you end up with this compacted sludge layer. And so for the bacteria to get access to the organic material that's tied up in those lower sludge levels, we can mix the whole lagoon. And that's what I was talking about with the composite samples. That's how we did that. But using that lagoon boat really gives us better access to be able to get access to that compacted sludge, get it all mixed up, get the bacteria mixed in there. And if we were able to achieve 30% reduction without mixing, we could probably get to 50 or 60%. Do you have one of these as well that you take on site then before you're applying? Right now we're third party contracting that out. But we've got a lot of contacts across the country that we've been able to utilize with that.
So they go and they get it all mixed up, and then you can go in and add. Yep.
Yeah,
nice.
we add the product after we're mixing. And again, that's how we do those performance trials too, is we want to make sure we're getting as good a composite sample as possible. So while we're mixing, we'll grab samples that way.
Yeah, and I guess for everybody that wants to reach out, 'cause a lot of people will see this, what's the best way to contact you? Actually, like what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, figure out even that, do you do like intro calls? Like how do you set that up with them?
Yeah, so our customer interaction, generally, let's do an intro call. We want to learn more about your challenge. We don't want to just sell you a product, right? We want to be a partner in it. And so let's learn about what your goals are, what your challenges are, and then, come up with a strategic and specific approach to each customer. So, So the ways to reach out, we have a contact us page on our website.
Perfect.
There's a phone number on there that you can reach out to. Find us on LinkedIn, send us a message there, individually or to the company page.
Perfect. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And as Justin said, go find them on the website, find them on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching this episode of The Construction Show. This was filmed here at WEFTEC in Chicago. And subscribe to Crownsmen Partners on YouTube. Follow Crownsmen Partners on LinkedIn and The Construction Show on LinkedIn. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for watching.